Hi, welcome to episode 4 of Master Glyph Hacking. And how are you doing? Have you practiced everything? And now, as we keep adding more and more glyph patterns to our arsenal, I hope you are practicing even more. If you have a portal to practice on, great. If not, you got the Glypher or the iGlyphTrainer app. Keep practicing and you will improve, and eventually you will reach a point when you will never get a glyph wrong. So let's begin. We got capture, and capture is a common glyph, and it can look difficult and it will be difficult to draw in the beginning, but because it's so common and because its look and name are so good, it will not be an issue for long. So you see, it's like you capture something like you have a net that you throw and you capture a butterfly, and you have to throw in the downwards direction, right? So it doesn't escape out, and that's capture. And we have a mirror image to capture, that is liberate. And if you open up the same net or the tool you use to capture that butterfly or anything, if you open it up, you liberate that butterfly or something that you have captured. So you use it in the downwards direction and you capture it, and if you throw it in the upwards direction, you let it go, you liberate it. So that's how I remember capture and liberate. And capture is very common. Liberate is not that common, but still as a mirror image you remember it. And that's it. We move on to next one. We got change. Now change is a bit difficult, especially when it could be similar to some other glyphs, but this is how I see it. Old, and then you come to new. So what is change? It's constant evolution of replacing old with the new. That is change. So old goes, new comes, and this Z or Z like symbol is formed, and that's the change. So this is the symbol or the figure I can come up with, and not very common glyph, but still, if it comes out of nowhere and you are drawing a 5 glyph sequence, you have to remember it. So this is change, replace old with the new. Then we have a very interesting one, and again a common one, chaos. Now chaos has a very long sequence, but it's not difficult to remember. When you will draw it, you will see it goes pretty smoothly, and it takes a lot of time to draw. One of the, like, messed up glyphs. It has so much area covered and so much length covered. It's a mess. It's literally chaos. It's just literally chaos. It's so big, it's so messed around, it's just chaos. And it looks like the letter K, although it starts with C, chaos, but it still looks like sort of like letter K. So it's chaos, and it's a messed up symbol, and that's the best way I can remember it. And it's a common one, you will get it over and over again, and that's that will make you remember it. And go ahead and practice. Now next one, look at this figure. It's a city or a civilization. That's it. City or a civilization are the names of the two glyphs we are going to learn. And if you take this much area out of this figure and you try to draw it, that's your city or civilization glyph. And if you mirror it upside down, you got nature, and that's the nature symbol, nature glyph, opposite to that of city or civilization. Nature is hardly ever asked, but city or civilization is again pretty common, and that's the symbol for civilization. You hardly call it city, it's pretty much always civilization. So that's the pattern you need to remember. Civilization, imagine those houses or those cities, and you put that area out, and that is the civilization. Next up we have clear. And I also want to talk about all. We learned all before, and the clear is, it's pretty clear. It's it's simple. It's just from top to bottom. It's pretty clear. I don't think there is any more clear glyph. It's also like straight up to down, like a mirror hanging on the wall. Imagine a mirror hanging on the wall. From the sideways, it's just a line. It's clear. You can see yourself in it, and that's it. So that's clear. And why I talked about all, because there are combinations of glyphs as well. As we advance in this videos, we will learn things like that. So clear all is also a glyph. So this is the clear, this is the all, and this is clear all. So these are the three glyphs. Hopefully you got it. These are not the difficult ones. Next up we have close. So I have made this small video where I take a paper, I fold it, and I close it, and the final figure that is formed is exactly the glyph pattern we are looking at. So we close the paper to form this. So that is close. Hope you get it. And next we move on to complex. If you have seen my art of glyph hacking, or if you are, we talked about this in the first episode, that hopefully you are familiar with the basics of Ingress. So the 4 commands of glyph hacking, when you enter into the glyph sequence, before the glyph sequences appear before you, you have time to enter these 4 commands: simple, complex, less, more, or more keys or no keys. So we have 4 commands, and one of them is complex. Complex is nothing but speeding up the glyph sequences so you can save some time and glyph hack faster. So complex is just that command. You should know that. And this is the simple. This is the most complex symbol out of the 4 commands, and it's obvious why it is, because you are an expert. You type faster, you do the glyph sequences faster, and you do it complex. You are master at complex hacking. So this is the complex symbol and one of the 4 glyph commands. Next we have conflict. Imagine, now conflict is very interesting, and because it hides in itself a lot of other glyph sequences. Conflict, imagine 2 armies in front of each other, both raising their hands and their spears on one side, and the other one is also raising it. So both the armies standing in front of each other, both roaring and shouting, and they're ready to face each other. So that's a conflict. That's what it looks like. Now the other glyph sequences, it hides in itself. We will slowly learn over the video series, but some we'll learn right now. We got courage. So if we take the arm on the left, and it's courage. So how, and we have a mirror image to that sort of mirror. It's also upside down, and it's also left right, so it's double mirrored, and that is called fear. Opposite of courage is fear. Now the army 1 on the left side is more courageous. So if you take that arm, that's courage, and if you take the other symbol, that is fear. So conflict, fear, and courage. That's what we learn from this. Hopefully you got it. 2 armies against each other in a conflict, and one of them on the left side is more courageous, so courage, and the other one is in a bit of fear, and we got fear on the other side. So hopefully you get it, and you have to learn it this way, and whatever works for you, just learn it. Just learn every symbol. Next we have consequence. So we got civilization, we learned before, right? So this is something I discovered while learning about glyphs. And what are the consequences of a broken civilization? So you draw civilization, you draw 3 times, and then you do not go up because the civilization is broken, and you go down. That's the consequence. What are the consequences of a broken civilization? You draw almost till the end, but you do not go up because the civilization is broken. From there you face the consequences of a broken civilization. Weird way to learn, but it works for me. Hopefully it works for you as well. Alrighty, so that's the consequences of a broken civilization. That's how I learned it. Next up we have contemplate, which looks like enlightened symbol. Now we have 4 symbols: enlightened, resistance, shapers, and NZ. These are like 4 teams or factions. We have 2 teams, green and blue, that is enlightened and resistance. Also we have these communities or people or life forms in the Ingress lore, NZ and shaper. So you will have to remember them. We will learn about them. So for now, let's just pick the enlightened because it's already a complex and a long video. Get it? What I did there? So we got enlightened. When you draw enlightened, I suggest you start drawing from the bottom. That way you won't get it wrong. You will go all the way up and you will draw the enlightened symbol. What if you start drawing from the top? You start from the top, you go down and you draw this M-like shape and you got contemplate. If you start drawing from the bottom, you get enlightened, and you start drawing from the top without joining that final line, you get contemplate. Similar to enlightened and very confusing symbol, but if you start practicing right now, that you will draw enlightened from the bottom and contemplate from the top, you will never get them wrong. You will always get them right, and that's the trick to remembering them. And contemplate and enlightened are so confusing, and if you do not practice, if you do not learn this trick, you will probably keep getting them wrong over and over again. So here we go. Next one, we got create or creation. It's simply just a line. So a line, how I imagine is that a person is carrying a log, so he's going to create something, a building or something. He's carrying a log on top of it, so the log is lowered from the back and it's going towards the up, so that log is like creation or create. It goes up, and when you destroy something, you're standing on top of a building and you are throwing the logs on the bottom side, and it goes up to down. So if you go up, you go create. If you go down, you destroy. So imagine people with logs on their shoulders and they are carrying it, and they are creating it, and they are going up, and they are like giving logs to people working up. Or if you are throwing logs down, they are destroying something. So create and destroy. Next up, we have creativity, and it's also called idea or thought, and I must say that this is the most creative glyph in the entire game, and it's so beautiful, it's so creative. That's how I remember it, and the beauty of this is it's so unique, and it looks really good, like random lines, except for the other glyphs, which mostly are just random zigzags. This one looks like a beautiful logo or a symbol. It's really creative, whoever did this, and it's called creative or creativity or idea or thought. Someone thought of this creative idea. Okay, did you get it? Hopefully. Let's revise quickly, can we? And we got we got capture, and we are capturing a butterfly, and then we are letting it go, we are liberating it, we are capturing it, we are liberating it. Then we got change old to new, we got a Z or a Z, and we got chaos, very big symbol. It's literally just a chaos in the glyph sequence. And then we got civilization from the city, and opposite of that we have the nature. We have all, and we have clear, and we have clear all. So it's just crystal clear. It's just a mirror on the wall. It's clear, and if you combine it with all, we have clear all. And then we have close, this paper, this video, and we just close the paper, close. It looks like a D. What a D. And then we have complex, one of the four symbols in the glyph patterns that we can draw to alter the results of a glyph hacking. Simple, complex, more or less. Then we have conflict, two armies standing against each other, and if you pick the left arm, that one is courage, and if you mirror it both upside down and left to right, you got fear. So conflict, courage, and fear is what we got. Then we have consequences of a broken civilization. So consequence, you start drawing the civilization, but in the end you do not draw the last arm, you break it, and you have a consequence of the broken civilization. It's like civilization, but it's broken in the end. we have contemplate. We must draw contemplate from the top. That's when we can get it correct. And similar to enlightened symbol, which we must draw from the bottom. You can draw it differently, but I suggest you do it this way. So next one, we have create a person carrying a log all the way to the top, someone throwing a log all the way from the top, and there's destroy, create, destroy. And then we have creativity. What a beautiful creative symbol, like an infinity, like a beautiful logo of a company or something like that. So really creative idea, really creative thought on this glyph. And that brings us to the end of this video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And here is a glyph for the next video. We will discuss, guess that, maybe try drawing in the glyph. Even if you don't do, that's fine, but make sure you practice every glyph at least once that we practiced today. Look it up, practice it up, and I'll see you in the next one.